Welcome to the Vibe Living Podcast, a podcast that talks about topics for women over 40. You know, that time of your life that many call midlife. That time of life when you can really vibe, be vibrant, intuitive, beautiful, and emerged. Join me, Linus Woods Mullins, certified holistic living and wellness expert for women over 40, as I talk about a variety of topics that address the wellness of the mind, body, and spirit for women over 40. Remember, midlife doesn't mean no life. Midlife is an opportunity to increase your self-love, your self-care, and your self-worth. It's your time to be vibrant, intuitive, beautiful, and emerged. It's your time to vibe. So come on, let's vibe. Hello and welcome to Vibe Living. I am Linus Woods Mullins, a certified holistic living and wellness expert for women over 40. And I truly believe that in midlife, we have the opportunity to really vibe, be vibrant, intuitive, beautiful, and emerged. And that is what this podcast is all about. Let's talk about ways to vibe. You know, I've been thinking a lot about all the time we have on our hands these days. Many of us are at home trying to stay motivated, inspired, encouraged, and it can be tough. So I've decided to do some research on what kinds of things we can do to stay hopeful and to stay encouraged. And one of the things that keeps coming up is the idea and the importance of journaling. Do you journal? I try to every morning, but I don't always do it. But when I do, I always feel like something has been released, that something has been restored as well. Journaling is kind of cathartic. And when I do journal, I love it. So today I asked a friend of mine to talk about a form of journaling that can be so helpful. I am so excited to welcome to the podcast Carolyn McGraw. She's an expert in positive possibilities. Don't you love that? She's an entrepreneur, mentor, coach, and motivational speaker. She is also an international best-selling author with her chapter entitled The Healing Power of Love and Forgiveness. She combines a master's degree in education with 15 years experience as a hypnotherapist and life coach. She is a poet and a storyteller and teaches others how to transform their wound story to their wow story. Life on Purpose is the name of Carolyn's TV show on the Women's Broadcast Network channel. And for over 20 years, she taught school, working with at-risk youth out of gangs and creating her own Healing Hearts curriculum. She will be talking with us today about soul journaling. Carolyn, welcome to Vibe Living. It's wonderful to have you here. And tell me, what is soul journaling and why is it important?
Well, soul journaling is connecting into your inner wisdom. It is using meditation, intention, and questions to ask yourself. It is a transformational therapeutic process for a personal evolution. And I have seen such powerful things happen when people take the time to write about their feelings and get their emotions out. It's a 24/7 therapy, that's free. Um, Getting it on paper, getting it out of your body and onto paper is just very healing and freeing to your mind.
Well, you know, when I journal, I do different kinds of journaling. I do gratitude journaling. I also have this abundance method that I use where I write to the CSO, which is the Chief Spiritual Officer God, and I tell him, prophetically thanking him in advance for everything that I do. And I don't have, I have an idea journal, ideas that come up and I write about them. But what kinds of things would I focus on there?
It's using your intention to what do I need to know today, and asking that question, writing that question, and breathing and tuning in to your heart, to your spirit, and just letting the words flow out. You'd maybe set a certain time of day, maybe have some tea, maybe in a quiet place, and then you're just tuning into yourself and asking, what's the most important thing for me to do today? It's like a way to connect to your spirit and to God through your writing.
Wow, that is so awesome. And I've never thought about doing that before. One of the things that happens with me when it comes to journaling. I always start to feel guilty if I don't journal on a particular day.
Mhm.
It becomes another weapon of mass destruction in terms of, oh God, I did, guilt and all that stuff. So, how can we use journaling in such a way that it does feed our soul and it does re energize us without letting it become one more thing on our list that we beat up on ourselves when we don't do it?
Right. So it's about making that sacred ritual. People call it your power hour. You do your prayers, you do your meditation, and then the next part would be your journaling. It doesn't have to be structured and it doesn't have to be every day. Just starting, just so many benefits for clearing the clutter from your mind, from sleeping better because you've had a place to let out your emotions and feelings and get inspired. You can get some inspiration and get to know the true self.
You mentioned something about the benefits of clearing the mind. What are some of the benefits? Because I do feel different when I don't journal, and I feel better when I do.
Anxiety. We have an epidemic of anxiety, and it's the negative thinking, it's the worry, it's the fear. And it actually can cancel out blessings when you're so focused on what could go wrong. And that when you can get it out onto the paper, it's a release. It's a release of the mind to positive possibilities,
Hmm.
and writing down what you want to happen, what you want to feel, and focusing your thoughts and your words on what you're wanting to create rather than what you're afraid of happening.
Yeah, I love that. And you're absolutely right. There are so many benefits. And as a past sufferer of anxiety, I know how crippling that can be. And I find that journaling can also be kind of a data dump for me. Like you said, it clears the
Yes,
mind. Yeah.
clearing.
And,
Yes.
and, and sometimes with my gratitude journaling, it helps me to stay present. I find that when you're staying present, you're not as preoccupied with what's going on in the past or what's going to be going on in the future. For me, anyway, was definitely one of the main anxiety causing agents because there was no control. Anxiety is that feeling of lack of control. You can't control the future or the past. So, of course, you're going to be anxious. That's wrong thinking. There's no control anyway, no matter, we don't have control of any of this. But when you're in the present, you're focusing on what you're writing, you're focusing on what you're thinking, and all of a sudden, the other things that you might have been anxious about seem to go in the background.
Exactly. So I have one exercise where you write down, I'm angry about, and you write down everything that you're angry about, and you don't reread it. Actually, that's the one you want to rip up, rip out, and take outside and burn up and release it.
Yeah.
Release it out of your home, out of your body, out of your mind. Then go back and write everything I'm grateful for.
I love that idea. That's fantastic. So, okay, guys, during this period of time, we certainly do have a lot of things to be angry about. We might be angry about our financial situation, angry that this virus has come, angry that our government doesn't seem to know exactly which end is up, angry that things seem to be so disorganized and that we're operating without a net. We can be angry about all those things. But what Carolyn is saying is after you've expressed all that and written it all down, you want to release that stuff. You don't want to focus on it. You want to kind of go back to joy and focusing on what you're grateful for. So get it out, tear it up, burn it up, sit down, write down what you are grateful for because there's still a lot of things to be grateful for.
Gratitude is so powerful. It's the key to abundance. It's the
Mm.
key to release this anxiety and fear when you're focusing on all the blessings that you have. It raises your vibration and you attract more of what you're wanting.
Absolutely. I truly do believe that what you think about, what you ponder on, what's going around in your mind all the time truly does come to pass, either positive or negative. So why not focus on the good? I mean, because that's what we want to happen to us instead of focusing on the bad. And having you here, Carolyn, is definitely focusing on the good. Thank you so much for joining me on Vibe Living. And I have to ask you a question real quick. Vibe stands for being vibrant, intuitive, beautiful, and emerge. So how do you vibe?
I'm all about keeping my vibration up, keeping that positivity and surrounding myself with positive, like minded, spiritual minded people. And, that sharing ideas rejuvenates my heart when I'm talking with someone who gets it, that understands spiritual principles. That's just where I love to be. And gratitude is such an important part of that.
You're such a bright light. You're always so up
Oh,
and positive and always have wonderful things to say, and you're always encouraging others. And I know that my listeners are going to want to find out more about you. I mean, you have this beautiful coaching business for speakers, and you're also a motivational speaker yourself. So, how can they find out more about you and the services you provide?
CarolynMcGraw.com is my website. And I do this genius alignment method that we work on recoding the mindset and tools to clear that clutter and the emotions. And I do a breakthrough coaching to get to what is the most important thing for you and what's going to help you the most. That's on my website. They can make an appointment with me. I do Skype and by phone, and just love to help people break through what is in the way of their genius.
Amen. That's wonderful. Thanks so much, Carolyn. And that reminds me of something as we go to our Body Bella segment. I love that music when you play Body Bella. I'm just going to focus on that for a minute. I love it. I really only have one thing to say when it comes to the whole Body Bella thing, guys. Okay. And that one thing I have to say is get moving. And I know people say, oh, exercise, I don't want to do it, or I don't want to go outside, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm not getting into all of that right now. For those of you who follow me on the Wellness Woman 40 group on Facebook, you know I'm always encouraging to move all the time. But here's one specific kind of movement that all of us can do. I like to call it solo dancing. Dancing like no one's watching. Okay. So when you are at home, find your favorite YouTube music or Pandora, whatever, put it on and start moving and dancing all around the house. That's what I do. And I encourage you to do it as well. When we're not moving, especially when we're not getting that heart pumping and getting the blood flowing to all the organs and everything else, our happy hormones are not coming together either. They're just sitting there lying dormant. But the minute you start moving, and then all of a sudden the pituitary glands, the thyroid, and all the other folks that are responsible in our body for our hormones send messages to each other. Hey, she's having some fun. She's moving. Let's make her happier. And then your happy hormones start coming, and next thing you know, you start feeling better. So my tip for you today in my Body Bella segment is get moving. Which brings me to our segment on Mind Moves. More of my favorite music. We want to keep our minds healthy during this time. And I challenge you to go ahead and Google what kinds of foods and supplements you should be taking to keep your mind clear. I can tell you that I don't go too many days without my vitamin B12 and my vitamin B6 because it helps fortify your body against stress. You also want to take omega-3, which is great for your brain as well. Your body does not produce omega-3. You either get through your foods or your supplements. Your foods are things like salmon or fatty fish, or you can get a good omega-3 supplement. If you want to find out more about how to have great brain health, go to my blog, Google it, or go to my blog, and my blog link is in the show page right there below. And for those of you who are listening and don't see the show page, just Google PraiseWorks Wellness Woman 40 blog, and it'll come up. Or go to my website at wellnesswoman40.com and click on the blog icon, and you'll see some information on ways that we can keep our mind in shape by eating foods and supplements that help strengthen our brain, which ultimately will strengthen our mind and our thought processes as well. I'm so glad that we got a chance to spend some time. And that's it for this episode. I love sharing my vibe world. Please take time and perhaps share this vibe world with someone else. I would love to hear from you. Any comments you have or ideas that you have, I'd love to do that. And you can also subscribe to the podcast. And to help me keep doing this podcast, there is a donation button. I'm not too proud to ask for donations, so we can keep this vibe going. Thanks so much for listening. It's always wonderful to be with you. And I really do love the idea that next time we're going to be doing even more vibing. Remember to take good care of you and your mind, body, and spirit. And don't forget to vibe. See you again next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Vibe Living Podcast. Please feel free to download, rate, share, and like the show. To find out more about living a vibe life, go to my website at wellnesswoman40.com. or email me at vibelivingpodcast@gmail.com. Have a fantastic day, and don't forget to vibe.